A millionaire returned to destroy his old home. What he found inside changed his life forever. They told him the house was empty. They told him nothing was left there. They told him demolition would be easy. But when the old millionaire opened the gate and heard children laughing inside the ruins, his whole life changed in one afternoon. And before we begin, tell us in the comments, what time is it and where are you watching from? Now let's begin. The black Mercedes moved slowly along the narrow dirt road. Tall grass brushed against the sides of the car. Broken fences leaned tiredly on both sides. Trees that once stood straight now bent like old men. The road had almost disappeared. Behind the wheel sat Richard Morrison, 72 years old. Silver hair neatly combed. Dark, expensive suit. A gold watch on his wrist. Everything about him spoke of money, power, success. Everything except his eyes. Because in his eyes lived a past he had spent 47 years running from. 47 years. That was how long it had been since he last drove down this road. Back then, he was 17. Angry, proud, hungry for more. Now he was one of the richest men in the country. And today, he had come back to destroy the only place that had ever truly been his home. The old house appeared slowly through the trees. Its white paint had turned gray. Large pieces had fallen off. The roof sagged in the middle. Several windows were broken or missing. The porch leaned forward, like it might collapse at any moment. The yard was wild. Weeds everywhere. Tall grass. Old tools rusting near the fence. But then, Richard noticed something strange. Near the front wall, someone had planted flowers. Roses. Red, yellow, pink, fresh, healthy, blooming. Right beside a dying house. Richard slowed the car and stopped. He did not get out right away. He just sat there. His hands held the steering wheel tightly. On the passenger seat lay a thick brown folder. Inside it were papers, signatures, plans, a contract with a demolition company. Next week, machines would come. This house would fall. The land would be sold. It was the smart business decision. Yet his chest felt heavy. Finally, he opened the door and stepped out. His shiny shoes sank into soft earth. As he walked toward the house, he heard something. Voices. Children's voices. Laughing. Talking. From behind the house. Richard froze. Children. Here? Slowly, carefully, he walked around the side of the building. And what he saw made him stop breathing. For children stood in what had once been his mother's garden. For 2 boys. 2 girls. The oldest boy looked about 12. Tall and thin. Wearing a brown shirt with dirt on the sleeves. Beside him stood a younger boy, maybe 9, holding a small bucket of water. Near them were 2 girls. One about 10, with braided hair and a yellow dress, gently tying plants with string. The smallest was a little girl, maybe 6, wearing a faded blue dress, holding flowers in her tiny hands. They were working, planting, watering, fixing broken wooden boards around the garden. You must be careful with the roots, the older boy said softly. If you pull too hard, the plant will die. I know, the older girl answered. Mama taught us. Richard's heart jumped. He cleared his throat. Excuse me. All 4 children turned at once. The little girl gasped and ran behind the older girl. The boys stood in front, trying to protect them. The tall boy stepped forward. Who are you, sir? He asked bravely. This place is private. Richard blinked. Private? He repeated. This is my property. The boy nodded. Yes, sir. We know. But we live here. You live here, Richard said slowly. Yes, sir. Not inside. The roof leaks. We sleep in the back room. It's safer there. Richard stared. Where are your parents? Silence. The older girl lowered her head. The little girl's eyes filled with tears. The tall boy swallowed. It's just us now, he said quietly. For how long? Richard asked. 8 months. 8 months, Richard whispered. The boy nodded. Our mama died. Then the people came and said they would send us to different places, different homes, different families. He looked at his siblings. We didn't want to be separated. So we ran. And you came here? Richard asked. Yes, sir. This house was empty. We thought no one wanted it anymore. Richard felt dizzy. My name is Daniel, the boy said. This is my brother, Caleb. And my sisters, Amina and little Rose. Rose waved shyly. We try to take care of the place, Daniel continued. We clean. We fix what we can. We grow food. Richard looked around again. Now he saw it clearly. Neat rows of vegetables. Carefully planted herbs. Clean paths between beds. These children had brought life back to a dead place. Why the flowers? Richard asked quietly. Little Rose stepped forward. Mama said homes need flowers, she said. She said flowers mean love still lives there. Richard turned away quickly. His eyes burned. This had been his mother's garden. His mother, Sarah Morrison. She had planted roses every spring. Red, yellow, pink. A home must be beautiful, she always said. Even if we have little money, we can still have beauty. Richard had not thought about her in years. Not properly. He remembered the fight. He had been 17. His father had found the college letter. A full scholarship. His father had shouted, "You think you're better than us now? You leave this house and never come back." And Richard had believed him. He left, and never returned. Not when his father died. Not when his mother wrote letters he never answered. Not when she passed away alone. The house had been empty for 27 years. Until now. You own this place? Daniel asked softly. Yes, Richard said. The boy nodded slowly. We'll leave, he said. Just give us one day. Where will you go? Richard asked. We'll find somewhere. The forced strength in the boy's voice broke Richard's heart. No, Richard said suddenly. They all looked at him. No one is leaving, he said again. The children stared. I came here to destroy this house, Richard admitted. But now, I see it's not empty anymore. He looked at the flowers. You children understand something I forgot. He pulled out his phone. I am canceling the demolition. The children gasped. I will rebuild this house, he said. And, if you allow me, he paused. His voice shook. I would like to rebuild a family too. Silence. Amina covered her mouth. Daniel's eyes filled with tears. You mean, we can stay? Yes, Richard said. And more than that, I want to take care of you, legally, properly. Little Rose suddenly ran forward and hugged his legs. Grandpa, she whispered. Richard knelt and held her. Tears finally fell. That evening, they sat on the porch and shared bread and vegetables. Later, Daniel brought a small wooden box. We found this upstairs, he said. Inside were old photos, and a letter, from his mother. She had written, If you ever come home, remember, it is never too late. Richard held the children close. That night, for the first time in 47 years, Richard Morrison slept in his childhood home. Not alone. 6 months later, the house stood proud again. Bright paint, strong roof, warm lights. A judge made it official. They were now family. And every spring, for children and one old man planted roses together. Because some houses are not meant to be destroyed. Some houses are waiting for their people to come home. If this story touched your heart, don't forget to like, subscribe, and share. And tell us in the comments, would you have made the same choice?